The FBI director, Christopher Wray, has seen this memo, and from everything he has seen, he has concerns that it is going to be misleading, that there are inaccuracies. This memo, apparently, from what I've been told in talking to sources, does not paint a full picture of of what the FBI was seeing, of what the FBI was doing. And that is the danger here, is that we in the public are going to see something that is not complete. And yes, it's going to be unfavorable to the FBI. And that is because we are not seeing the full picture.
I've been told similar things in that when we say the full picture, it's all the background intelligence that would have been used to make a judgment that you need to monitor someone here.
For instance, if this is about a FISA, a renewal FISA that the Deputy Attorney General Rod Rosenstein approved, in order to get an approval on a renewal, you have to show the FISA court that the existing FISA was giving you information, that you were getting valuable information for that, so that in order to get the renewal, so that if they got a renewal, that means the court felt that they were getting good information.
I want to get more to that, but big picture here, you have Christopher Wray, the new director of the FBI, chosen by President Trump, openly, is he not, defying the administration here and the Justice Department?
Certainly is. We're told that there are people at the Department of Justice that did not want the FBI to do this, to issue this statement, to go public with their concerns over this. Privately, certainly, people at the FBI, at the Department of Justice, who have spoken to us, have raised this concern. But for the FBI to issue this kind of a statement so publicly, it's unprecedented, unheard of. And perhaps maybe the FBI is now saying, you know what, enough is enough. We've been beat up enough, and it's time that we stand up for ourselves.
I think what Chris is getting at is the principle and the precedent here. They're always briefing Congress in closed session, in classified settings, on things that are very sensitive. And if now Congress decides to unilaterally release information that they're briefing them on, then really it's a breach of trust between the FBI and Congress, not so much the FBI and the White House. We know the White House is probably going to release this information. I, like a lot of people, would like to see the information. But on the other hand, I defer to Chris Wray and the agency itself and the DOJ as to whether that would, in fact, compromise sources and methods. You know, in shorthand, that means somebody could get killed.
And you're going right to an issue here, which is also central to this, because you have the accuracy question. You have the FBI here saying this is misleading. I've spoken to current and former intelligence officials who are concerned exactly about what you've brought up here, which is that you're revealing what is, by design, a secretive process which gets at how targets are picked and surveilled for national security issues here. What's your degree of concern about lifting the veil, so to speak, on this process?
Well, I've personally been involved in using FISA information in open court in criminal cases. There's a process for that. And FISA information can get sanitized and released to the public. It's really all about the process here. FISAs are based on a mosaic of information, lots of different sources, corroborated, and like a criminal wiretap, the person that's getting the FISA or putting forth the FISA application has to reveal all the facts that they know at that time that are relevant. So as a member of the general public, I'd like to know if it was paid for by an opposition party, if there was information in there. On the other hand, I defer to the agencies, Chris Wray in particular, who has integrity and independence. And if they say, look, this will compromise sources and methods, you have to take them at their word, albeit they're a little bit conflicted because the criticism is leveled at the FBI. However, we also have, they report to the Department of Justice, and the Justice Department, as I understand it, is saying, hey, let's hold up here. This is, in fact, going to compromise some sources. So I have to defer to them at this point.
Let's talk about what you raised there, because the essential Republican argument here is that this is going to reveal that this whole thing started because of this famous dossier funded at times by Democrats. I spoke, for instance, yesterday to the former Director of National Intelligence, Michael Hayden, who, like you, has been involved in FISA warrants, the issuing them. And he made the point, listen, you do not ever seek or get granted a FISA warrant based on some one piece of outside information, that you've got to have independently collected intelligence to bolster that case, intercepted communications, et cetera, that if it say was mentioned in the FISA application, this dossier, there is no way a FISA, first of all, the FBI would request such a warrant or the judge would grant such a warrant based just on one piece of information like that. Is that an accurate expression of how this is done based on your experience?
It is. I mean, I did a lot of criminal work, spent some time doing some counterterrorism work, but these work the same way as criminal wiretap applications. It's a composite of information from a multitude of sources. Some of these affidavits run into the hundreds of pages. So it's not inconceivable that some information from the dossier went in there. I think, in fairness, I think procedures would require that you would relate to the court that some of this information, where it derived from, what your source was, and let the court decide whether that tainted the information or not. So I don't mean to confuse the issue here. As a member of the general public, I'd like to know how much of a role the dossier played. But as a former member of the intelligence community, you have to defer to these well-established procedures that are in place now. And the FBI says that'll compromise sources. I think we have to take them at their word.
Chris Wecker, you got your own experience in the FBI, and we appreciate you sharing it. Thanks for joining us.